This is John with Beer JP, and today I'm going to declare the top crafty beers of 2017. First, you may be asking, what is a crafty beer? Well, with craft beer slowly gaining minuscule percentages of the total beer market in Japan, the larger industrial breweries are trying to keep hold of their reign by offering beers that more or less copy craft beer selections. To me, a crafty beer is defined as a beer that is made by a large industrial brewery that tries to emulate or otherwise mimic the flavors or aesthetics of a craft beer. Despite there being 5 top dogs in the Japanese brewery scene, Orion, Suntory, Sapporo, Kirin, and Asahi, my list of 2017's crafty beers only includes 3 of those breweries. Not because I like some more than the others or anything like that, it's just because of how it turned out. So let's dig in and find out what 5 crafty beers you need to look out for when you're in Japan. Solid. Number 5 is Suntory's Tokyo Craft Pale Ale. Brewed in Suntory's Tokyo Musashino Brewery, the Tokyo Craft beer line has a few different offerings, including an IPA, a few other seasonals, and their ever-present Pale Ale. Look at that. Delicious stuff. While the other lineups have been less than memorable, including the current seasonal Weizen, which didn't appeal to me at all, the Pale Ale has been around long enough that it's a consistent, kind of a welcome can of beer to find in a convenience store. The Suntory Pale Ale offers a solid hop flavor from North American Cascade hops, and it closely resembles a lighter American Pale Ale, meaning it has a fair amount of bitterness that's not usually found in the convenience store offering. This beer has a good amount of citrus and lemony aromas initially, with a good hop bitterness that is put against a cracker and caramel sweet body. Overall, it's not a bad pale ale. It's kind of what it looks like. Not bad at all. Lots of carbonation. Pretty tasty. Like I said, it's definitely a sort of beer that when you're looking for more of a pale ale offering from the convenience stores in Japan, something that's got a bit more of a kick, a bit more of a hoppy characteristic body to it, this is probably the only one you can get to that doesn't cross the line into craft beer. The Patchwork of Flavor from the Mosaic. Next on our list is a sort of newcomer to the scene, kind of. It's made by Japan Premium Brew, which is a 100% child company of Sapporo beer. This is done by what's called Innovative Brewer. Now, Innovative Brewers, Zetsumiyo no Mosaic and Citra, otherwise known as the Exquisite Mosaic and Citra, is a fabulous beer that helps bring hops to the forefront. Without a doubt, this is one of the lineups that I'm surprised even exists. It's an educational sort of lineup that focuses primarily on hops and different varieties available to people. This particular beer is a showcase of Mosaic and Citra. While not as strong as I would like in terms of hop characteristics, it works well for the Japanese foods that you normally find about, sushi, yakitori, those sort of things that don't necessarily rely on a heavy amount of flavor. This beer has an aroma that first hints of passion fruit. The citrus side of this beer does not shy away from your nose or from your palate. The Mosaic blend helps bring more of the lemon, pine, and herbal notes to the body that is overall tangy but delicious, a little grassy from time to time. It's not all that bitter. It's definitely a patchwork of flavors and aromas that kind of just make this a very surprising beer that someone would go out on the limb and try to make a whole new company, 100% child company of Sapporo beer, to even make this sort of thing. So I'm very happy it exists, and if you do see it, try it out. Innovative Brewing. Number 3, Grand Kirin Japan Pale Lager. This particular beer is a pale lager that focuses on using domestic, malts and hops. These domestic variants help drive a bitter but balanced pale lager characteristic. The initial aromas are a Pils malt with tangerine, citrus, oranges, and a sort of strong floral but light sweetness, little sugar spice mix. The Japan Pale Lager, otherwise known as the JPL, does one thing very well, and that is it is a very crisp, delightful lager, what you would come to expect from lagers. So the backbone of it being a lager is definitely there, but it also brings a nice light fruity finish that you don't normally get from a lot of pale lagers or lagers in general. It is a rich beer that balances a crispness to a full-fledged body. Bitterness is present for a lasting time. It's mild to strong, malty finish with a dry aftertaste. Overall, a good, if different lager to try. Trust me, when it comes to lagers, there's a ton of them to try in Japan. Overall, the Japan Pale Lager is done by Grand Kirin. It's definitely something to look out for. It's more of an uncommon lager if you're going to go by game rarity. It's an overall sweeter lager that has a bitterness characteristic to it, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly how it is other than saying it's earthy, malty, doughy, that sort of stuff. Japan Pale Lager, Grand Kirin. Good stuff. Number 2. Next on our list is another beer made by Japan Premium Brew. Again, 100% child company of Sapporo. Innovative brewers Nelson Sauvin no Shinzui, or the essence of Nelson Sauvin. Like the exquisite Mosaic and Citra, the essence of Nelson Sauvin focuses on the particular New Zealand-based hop. I'm a sucker for Nelson Sauvin hops with their drier, wine-esque flavors. Just, in all honesty, when I was first discovering craft beer, and we first got some importer brought a whole bunch of Nelson Sauvin hops to Japan, and oh my goodness, once they started making beers with them, it was a whole new world of flavor to me, and I was pleasantly surprised. Some words that I had to use to describe the beer were more the vocabulary that you would attribute to wines and that sort of thing. Dry, mouth. It's a very iconic hop. It's done very well in Japan, with a few breweries actually trying to use it more and more. This beer starts with a sweet, bready, and malty nose with a good amount of hop characteristics. Further inspection allows your nose to sort of sense more tropical fruit characteristics. There's a touch of mango, some other notes that are usually attributed to Sauvin hop. The flavor is soft at first, leading into the slightly bitter but more sparkling mango, pine, citrus, world of crispness that I have come to expect from any beer that uses Nelson Sauvin hop. Oh, that's good. While compared to other beers or breweries that utilize Nelson Sauvin hops better, I still feel that the fact that a large brewery, Sapporo, has invested time and money into making this sort of beer available to the masses. Definitely has a bit of a crystal malt in there, so it's not bad, but I think could be done better. Regardless, for a crafty beer, something to definitely check out. Number 1 is Grand Kirin's Fukuro no Mori Wheat Strong Ale. Now, Fukuro no Mori literally means owl's forest. Fukuro is an owl and Mori is forest. This is a supremely special Grand Kirin beer that's only available in select Family Mart, Circle K, and Sunk's convenience stores. This is by far the best crafty beer this year. Honestly, it's the best crafty beer I've had in a couple years because it hits what a wheat ale should be right on the head. It's got that full sort of weedy, banana-y, fruity flavor you expect from it, and it doesn't skip out on any of the other characteristics as well. It's a full-bodied, delicious beer. This is by far the best crafty beer I've had in a long time. And while the flavor, as well as the higher than usual ABV, 7.5%, a daring move away from usual industrial brewing conventions. This wheat strong ale is unfiltered first off. It has a solid fruity aroma and a rich, wheaty body. This beer has a slightly bitter, but sort of caramel and apricot-like sweetness that permeates throughout the entirety of it. It balances out the initial bitterness you experience in the mouth. Overall, this beer is the poster child of what a good wheat ale is, and is definitely one of the beers you should try. But in 2017, this is definitely one of the best. Amazing stuff. That's John with 2017's top 5 list of crafty beers. I'm looking forward to see what 2018 has in store for us, especially when we saw places like Sapporo making whole new companies just to educate people, essentially, on different types of hops. Anyway, it's looking exciting, and hopefully you'll join me as we all explore and discover the new delicious beers in Japan and eventually Asia. Happy holidays, and Happy New Year.